You're listening to Superpowers of the Soul on the Superpower Up Podcast, the show that elevates superpowers to the divine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Jennifer Urezzio. I am a superpower expert. I'm also the founder of Soul Language, and this is Superpowers of the Soul. And today we're talking with Natalie Garnica, and we're talking about creating freedom via love. Welcome, Natalie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. So I always love to start with the first question of, what do you consider the superpower of your soul for you?
You know, about this question a little bit earlier, vulnerability. Like when I allow myself to really just be vulnerable and open up in ways that is really authentic, I think that that's when my soul really comes alive, and really allows itself to connect with others.
Love it. And what do you consider your sacred purpose? What you're fundamentally here to experience and then offer that experience to others.
So this might sound super cheesy, but I think that my sacred purpose is to love and to really shift the way we are viewing love, because I work on what my purpose is love revolution, which I think that as the times are changing, so should the way we think about love, because the way that I feel like my parents or grandparents view love, it's very kind of like codependent. And for me, I feel like there's a way where we can find a happy medium between just being free in a sense, but also having connection, and that sometimes sounds so impossible for people to understand and believe, right? That how can you love someone else and still be free?
Yeah,
So
I think that's really important. I think so often, we have this bizarre human concept of love, and what you're talking about is really something much bigger than from the overflow happens with humans.
Yes. Yeah. So, as I've thought about this question more and more of like, okay, well, what is love now? Or how can we shift love where it can feel more liberating and really just natural? And then it comes down to just self-love, right? Like if we cannot fulfill ourselves first, then how can we expect someone else to fulfill us, right?
You can't feel like those holes are never ending. It's not going to be able to be fulfilled from external experiences, just internal. And sometimes it's like the chicken and the egg, right? You have that full experience of love and then bam, it's reflected out in your outer world. So what has been a big theme that your soul has shared with you over your journey?
That I am meant to be loved. I personally, to share a little bit of my backstory, when I was 18, my best friend passed away. And a few years after that, then probably who I consider my first love also passed away. And then, just life happened and I ended up losing another really loving relationship. And in my mind, I allowed myself to play the story that I wasn't meant to be loved. And so that's why this question of love has been a deep-rooted feeling in me. I think that my soul has always searched for, or maybe not even searched, suppressed it through wanting to feel that pain. I numbed everything, and as a result, along with that was love, and
Natalie, we're losing you.
I feel again more. Hello?
Natalie, we're losing you again.
Okay.
Where are you? Are you on, what are you using to connect to Zoom?
This is just my phone. Yeah.
Okay, so it's really hard to connect to Zoom via phone.
Yeah.
So, do you...
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but it keeps going in and out.
Okay, we'll try it right now and then, okay. Where did I leave off?
Well, let me ask the question again.
Okay.
So, what has been a big theme that your soul has shared with you over your journey?
My soul has really shared with me that I am meant to be loved. When I was 18, my best friend passed away, and it really pushed me to want to numb my feelings. It pushed me to, instead of to feel the pain, I blocked out everything, including love. And when that happened, it really blocked my soul from feeling again. So as going back to my superpowers, I realized that when I allow myself to be vulnerable, that's when I become
Invincible.
me, right?
Yeah.
Invincible. Yeah.
Beautifully put. So, before we do our break here, let people know how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so you can get in touch with me through my website, which is love-rev.com. And there you can jump on to is for self-love. And also you can go on to my Instagram, which is Natalie.Garnica, Garnica. And that's how you can connect with me.
Beautiful. Okay, everyone, stay tuned because we will be back talking to Natalie about creating freedom via love.
Hello, everyone. This is Tonya Don Rekla, Executive Director of Superpower Experts, and we want to thank each of you for making Superpower Up the #1 podcast network for personal development and spiritual growth. Because people like you have the courage to say that mindfulness, healthy living, disrupting reality, the pursuit of consciousness, responsible entrepreneurship, and radical parenting matter, we now amass over 1 million downloads monthly in more than 90 countries. Our numbers keep growing because there are far more people willing to live divergently than mass media wants to acknowledge. For you, the change makers, the light bearers, the way showers, we say thank you. If you're ready to take the next step in your evolution, go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the Superpower Quiz. And as Natalie Rekla, our youngest podcaster, likes to remind us, remember, we all have superpowers and we can change the world.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Jennifer Urezzio from Superpowers of the Soul. Today we're talking with Natalie Garnica, and we're talking about creating freedom via love. So why can we have this unlimited feeling, this sense of freedom, by truly profounding loving ourselves?
Mm-hmm. You know, to be in self-love, it's such a complicated question sometimes, right? Because everyone's like, oh, well, I love myself. And then at the same time, that inner critic, that inner voice kind of says otherwise sometimes, or at least it has for me. So when I started thinking again more about the word love, and instead of looking at all these external factors, because that's where I first started, and then I started talking to other people, other, thought leaders, people that just really have gone on their own personal journey of love. It really comes down to self-love. And then that's when it really hit me, where it's like, oh, what have you been doing this whole time, Natalie? Why don't you focus on you first? And from there, again, being able to create more love from the abundance is what really became clear to me.
Yeah, so what I hear you saying is, if we're not in this self-love, if we're not in this feeling of deep acceptance and deep, respect for ourselves, we are going to feel out of control. We're going to feel restricted. We're going to feel as though people are kind of in control of ourselves. The world is happening to us instead of through us. Is that accurate?
100%. 100%. When you take full responsibility of the things that are happening in your life, the relationships that are being created, it's so shifting, right? Like, you can clearly see, instead of being taking a victim role and taking more responsibility, you then have control to shift all your relationships, whether it be, with your family, in the workplace, in a romantic relationship, your friendships, and more importantly, with yourself. That's when things can really, you have control of your life, you have control of your feelings, and that's really what's powerful about self-love. Because when it's like, you know what, I have the power to create what I want to create And I think that that's where it all begins with yourself.
Yeah, I agree. So how do people start kind of self-loving themselves? Like, how do they begin if they've never experienced this? Can you share a tip with us?
Yeah. So for me personally, I think that it should start with, again, the vulnerability, right? To allow yourself to feel not just the good, but also the bad.
Yeah.
It's not it's not always easy to look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, you know what, like that wasn't maybe the best version of you. But then also be gentle with that part and be like, but it's okay, because it's all part of you, and it doesn't make it good or bad. I think also releasing those ideas of like, okay, well, this is good and this is bad. It's like, it's all just personal judgment. It's all personal perspectives. So, when I shifted my idea of like, okay, this isn't necessarily good or bad. It just is. And how can we shift it to, again, taking that responsibility and creating what I want to create? And so when you start doing those two things, I think that's where the self-love begins. Being able to be vulnerable with yourself, being gentle with yourself, and then taking responsibility of what you want to create.
Yeah, beautifully put. And I always think of this way. If you just want the highs, if you've ever heard a song with just high notes, it's kind of not a beautiful song. You need all of the scale to really participate fully in life. So as we're wrapping up this time together, if there's one thing that you want everyone to remember from our conversation today, what would it be?
Self-love it's a journey. It's not a one-stop solution. As we grow, so does the way we love ourselves. And as we experience just life, we should just be gentle with ourselves and have fun with it. That's what I really want people to think.
Beautiful. So give out your website address one more time.
Yeah, it's love-rev.com.
Beautiful. And so my last question is, if you were a magnet on whatever you call your higher powers refrigerator, what would your magnet say?
Oh my God, that's a good question. I would say freedom.
Like it. I love it. Freedom's a big word for me too. We're right on the same page. And I want to thank you so much for stopping by and sharing your love.
Thank you. Y'all had a good day.
Yes, I'm sure they got a lot of good tips. I know I did. So love, love, love. Thanks so much. And keep going out there and creating your love revolution.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. If you like what you heard today, you can connect with me and all the other experts in SuperpowerNet at superpowerexperts.com/the-net to find out more. Don't forget not just to find your connection, but to be your connection. If you like this show, don't forget to share it. You can find me on social media at Soul Language. Bye for now.
Are you ready to discover your superpowers? Go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the Superpower Quiz today.